The golden palace of Aphrodite shimmered in the eternal twilight of the gods when the most beautiful mortal ever born was brought before the goddess of love. Psyche stood trembling, her beauty so radiant that mortals had stopped worshipping Aphrodite herself. "So," Aphrodite said, her voice like honey laced with poison, "this is the mortal who dares rival a goddess." Her eyes, normally filled with divine love, now burned with jealousy. "Eros!" From the shadows stepped her son, the god of love himself. His wings were pure white, his bow made of starlight, and his arrows could make any heart fall in love. But when he saw Psyche, something unprecedented happened. One of his own arrows accidentally pricked his finger. "Mother," he said, his voice suddenly uncertain, "what would you have me do?" Aphrodite's smile was cruel. "Make her fall in love with the most hideous creature on earth. Let her beauty be her curse." But Eros couldn't bring himself to obey. Instead, he carried Psyche to a magnificent palace that existed between dimensions, where time moved differently and souls could meet without the constraints of physical form. "Who are you?" Psyche whispered into the darkness of their bedchamber, where Eros visited her each night but never allowed her to see his face. "I am your beloved," his voice came like a gentle breeze, "and you are mine. But you must trust me. If you ever see my face, we will lose everything." For months, they lived in perfect harmony. Their love transcended the physical. They connected soul to soul, sharing thoughts, dreams, and the deepest parts of their beings. Psyche had never been happier, but curiosity, that fatal flaw of mortals, finally overcame her. One night, while Eros slept, Psyche lit an oil lamp to see her mysterious husband's face. The light revealed the most beautiful being she had ever seen. Not a monster, but the god of love himself. In her shock, a drop of hot oil fell on his shoulder. Eros awoke with a cry of pain and betrayal. "Psyche, what have you done? I told you that seeing my face would destroy us." "Please," she begged, reaching for him, "I love you more than life itself." But Eros was already fading, his form becoming translucent. "Love without trust cannot survive. You have broken the sacred bond." Desperate to win back her beloved, Psyche sought out Aphrodite, knowing the goddess would demand a terrible price. "You want my son back?" Aphrodite laughed coldly. "Then prove your love is true. Complete 4 impossible tasks, and perhaps I will consider it." The first task: sort a mountain of mixed grains before dawn. As Psyche wept before the impossible pile, tiny ants took pity on her and sorted every grain. The second task: gather golden wool from man-eating sheep. A river reed whispered to her to wait until evening when the sheep slept, then gather wool from the thorns where they had passed. The third task: fill a crystal vial with water from the river Styx in the underworld. An eagle, remembering Psyche's kindness to animals, flew to the deadly river and filled the vial for her. The fourth and final task was the most dangerous: journey to the underworld and bring back a box containing Persephone's beauty. "This box," warned Aphrodite, "must never be opened. Bring it to me sealed or face eternal punishment." Psyche descended into the realm of the dead, her love for Eros giving her courage to face every horror. Persephone, moved by the mortal's devotion, gave her the precious box. But as Psyche climbed back toward the world of the living, a terrible thought struck her. Thinking, "What if Eros no longer finds me beautiful after all I've endured? Perhaps I should use just a little of Persephone's beauty." She opened the box. Instead of beauty, a deathly sleep poured out, and Psyche collapsed, seemingly lifeless. Eros, who had been watching from afar, could bear it no longer. He flew to her side, gathering her in his arms. "My beloved," he whispered, his tears falling on her face. "I never stopped loving you. Your trials have proven what I always knew. Our souls are bound across all lifetimes." His kiss awakened her, and as their lips met, something miraculous happened. Zeus himself appeared, moved by their devotion. Eros, Psyche, authoritative, the king of gods, said, "Your love has transcended the boundaries between mortal and divine. Psyche, drink this ambrosia and become immortal, so you may be together for all eternity." As Psyche drank the nectar of the gods, her consciousness expanded, and she suddenly understood the deeper truth of their story. "We knew each other before," she gasped, memories flooding back. "In the realm between lives, we chose each other. We agreed to this trial, this separation, this reunion." Eros nodded, his eyes shining with ancient wisdom. "Every soul does this, beloved. Before each incarnation, souls meet in the celestial realm and make sacred contracts. In this life, you will be my mother and teach me patience. In this life, I will be your husband, and we will learn forgiveness together." "The trials," Psyche whispered in wonder, "were lessons we agreed to learn together. Every person who enters your life, parents, lovers, even enemies, are souls you chose before birth to help you grow." Dr. Michael Newton sat across from his patient, Sarah, who was deep in hypnotic regression. Her voice had changed, becoming distant and ethereal. "I'm in a place of light," Sarah said, her eyes closed. "There are other souls here, and we're choosing our next lives." Dr. Newton leaned forward, fascinated. In 30 years of regression therapy, he had heard this same story thousands of times from different patients. "Tell me about the choosing," he said gently. "I see the soul who will be my mother in this life. She's showing me the lessons we'll learn together. The challenges, the love, the growth. We're both excited about this opportunity." Sarah's face lit up with joy. "And there's my soulmate. We've been together in so many lives, playing different roles, sometimes lovers, sometimes friends, sometimes even adversaries to teach each other important lessons." "How do you choose?" "With such love," Sarah whispered, tears streaming down her face. "We choose based on what our souls need to learn. Sometimes we choose difficult parents to develop strength. Sometimes we choose loving ones to learn trust. But always with the deepest love and purpose." Dr. Newton made notes, marveling at how Sarah's account matched thousands of others. "And your soulmate in this life?" Sarah smiled, still deep in trance. "He's my husband, David. We recognized each other the moment we met, that instant connection, that feeling of coming home. It's because our souls remembered the contract we made before birth." When Sarah awakened from hypnosis, she looked at Dr. Newton with wonder. It was so real, more real than this room. "We really do choose our lives, don't we?" Dr. Newton nodded, thinking of all the cases he had documented. "Sarah, what you experienced is what the ancient Greeks knew when they told the story of Eros and Psyche. Every relationship in your life is a sacred contract, chosen with love before you were born." Have you ever wondered why certain relationships feel like destiny, while others challenge you to your very core? What if I told you these connections were chosen by your soul before you were even born? In this video, we'll uncover the fascinating concept of soul contracts and how they design your most important relationships long before you entered this life. What if your most difficult relationships, the ones that hurt, frustrate, or confuse you the most weren't accidents at all. Imagine for a moment that the people in your life, from your closest loved ones to those who seem to test your patience constantly, were chosen by your soul to help you grow in ways you might not even realize. This is the concept of soul contracts, a profound spiritual idea that suggests our lives and the relationships that shape them are carefully planned before we're even born. Soul contracts are the agreements our souls make before incarnation. Guided by spiritual entities, often referred to as spirit guides or higher beings, we participate in an intricate planning process. During this time, the conditions of our lives are charted out. This includes the people we will meet, the roles they will play, and the lessons they'll help us learn. These decisions are made with intention, rooted in the belief that every interaction, whether joyful or painful, carries an opportunity for growth. Think of a soul contract as a blueprint. Before constructing a building, the architect meticulously plans every detail, the measurements, the materials, even how the light will hit certain spaces. In the same way, a soul carefully maps out its earthly journey, designing relationships as key structures within this blueprint. Or you might imagine it as a stage script. Each of us plays a role, stepping into characters that will push, challenge, or uplift others, all in service of a larger narrative. None of it is random. Every role has a purpose, and every scene is deliberate. The primary goal of these contracts is spiritual evolution. Sometimes it's about resolving karma, unbalanced energy, or actions from past lives. For example, a rivalry with a colleague may echo unresolved conflict from centuries ago, now providing an opportunity to heal and release it. Other times, contracts are created to foster personal growth. Imagine being born into a family dynamic where one parent is distant or critical. While it may feel unfair in the moment, that relationship could teach resilience, patience, or the ability to create boundaries, important tools for your soul's expansion. A fascinating takeaway from the YouTube video, How Your Soul Selects Next Family and Partner Before Reincarnation, explains this process in relatable terms. It describes how souls review their past lives and identify areas needing growth. Maybe, in a previous life, someone struggled with forgiveness. In their next incarnation, they might choose relationships that test their capacity to forgive. These relationships, even the most difficult ones, act as mirrors, forcing us to confront parts of ourselves in need of healing or understanding. This concept takes on profound significance when you realize what it means for your present life. Even the relationships that feel unbearable at times, maybe a strained connection with a sibling or a romantic partner who challenges your insecurities, might be fulfilling a deeper purpose. Soul contracts remind us that no experience is wasted. Every hardship carries the seed of a lesson, and every person can be a teacher, whether they're aware of it or not. Of course, this doesn't mean free will doesn't exist. While these contracts provide a kind of framework, the way events unfold depends on how you respond to them. It's like being given a map, but choosing your own route within it. That's the beauty and the mystery of life. You have the power to decide what to do with the challenges and opportunities you encounter. This idea also hints at something even more mysterious. Soul contracts not only shape what happens to us, but also influence who we become. An unexpected argument, a surprising betrayal, or even a deep, unconditional love can transform us in ways we could never predict. The ripple effects of these moments can change the trajectory of our lives entirely. But what if you could remember these agreements? What if, through certain practices, you could access the memories of your soul planning these relationships? This possibility leads us to explore the world of past life regression. Could recalling your pre-birth choices reveal the hidden purpose behind your most significant relationships? Can we remember the decisions made by our souls before we were born? It might sound extraordinary, but past life regression therapy offers a fascinating way to explore this question. This therapeutic practice allows individuals to access deep memories, often ones tied to pre-birth planning and even the contracts their soul agreed upon before entering this life. Through a state of heightened consciousness or hypnosis, people reconnect with moments that transcend their current lifetime. They're guided through experiences that reveal not only who they were, but why their soul chose this life's circumstances, including their most influential relationships. In one documented case from the study, Percepción de resultados de la práctica de regresión a vidas pasadas, a participant reflected on a strained relationship with their father. During a regression session, they recalled making a deliberate choice before birth to be part of a family dynamic where patience and forgiveness would be tested. This process brought clarity to a painful relationship. For years, they had carried resentment, anger, and confusion, wondering why their father's actions seemed so hurtful. Yet, after the session, their perspective fundamentally changed. They began to understand that this relationship wasn't punishment, it was an arrangement chosen together, designed to challenge and ultimately transform both souls involved. The study noted that many participants found relief after these sessions, feeling they had released deeply rooted emotions tied to long-standing issues. The insights don't just stop at healing relationships. Recalling a soul contract can have profound effects on someone's overall understanding of their life. Often, it shifts their mindset entirely. One of the most powerful realizations participants experience is that life's challenges, even the painful ones, are part of a bigger picture that they themselves were involved in creating. The same study found that regression therapy often helps individuals address troubling symptoms or uncertainties in their lives. By bringing unconscious memories into awareness, participants begin to notice a sense of inner balance returning. They also report improvements in self-esteem and emotional well-being. This re-establishing of balance allows them to not only feel more grounded, but also to approach their relationships with newfound gratitude and purpose. Another fascinating insight comes from the works of Brian Weiss, a pioneer in past life regression therapy. His patients often accessed memories of pre-birth planning sessions where they met with spiritual guides or other soul connections to map out the key events of their reincarnation. Through these sessions, his patients began to recognize the people in their lives, parents, partners, even adversaries, as souls they'd encountered before, working together in multiple lives to evolve mutually. One story that stands out involves a woman deeply estranged from her mother. Through regression, she saw herself with her mother's soul in a different life entirely, where love and unity had once bonded them deeply. The current life's tension, she realized, was their shared decision to learn lessons through contrasting roles this time around. What makes this process so transformative is the way it dissolves fear and resentment. That shift alone often makes space for profound self-awareness. People report letting go of their fear of death after glimpsing the eternal nature of their consciousness. The same study noted that more than half of participants felt their relationship to mortality had changed after regression sessions, connecting them to the timeless dimension of reality. Instead of focusing solely on the pain within a difficult relationship, they began to embrace these dynamics as sacred opportunities for healing and growth. Perhaps what lingers most when you hear about these cases is this idea: if your soul chose this life and its connections, could there be an intention behind even the toughest challenges? These sessions don't erase the difficulty of relationships or life events, but they reveal meaning behind them. They remind us that growth is often hidden in discomfort, and that love can exist even under the surface of conflict. These stories also invoke a sense of curiosity about others you encounter. Some interactions feel profound from the very first moment, and others become significant over time. This may tie into an even larger puzzle, one where the people you meet aren't just coincidences, but members of a greater system your soul has revisited throughout existence. Could these connections be part of a shared journey? Perhaps they've been playing different roles with you across lifetimes, all striving to help one another evolve. Have you ever met someone and felt an instant, almost magnetic connection, as though you had known them forever? These moments of recognition might not be as random as they seem. They could point to the presence of a soul group, a cluster of souls that reincarnate together, playing different roles across lifetimes. Within these groups, bonds often feel deeper, more familiar, and at times more challenging, but they all serve a greater purpose: the spiritual growth of every member involved. Soul groups function much like a cosmic family, bound by shared lessons and mutual support. Imagine them as collaborators in an ongoing project, each soul bringing a different perspective to help the others succeed. They're not limited to traditional family structures either. A soul group includes parents, siblings, friends, mentors, and sometimes even the antagonists in your life, the people who push your boundaries or test your patience. These roles shift from lifetime to lifetime, but the connections remain intact. For example, the sibling who annoyed you in this life might have been a close friend in another, or the parent who challenges you now could have once been your student. It's an intricate, ever-changing dynamic designed to teach and transform. Perhaps the simplest way to envision a soul group is as a theater troupe. The cast remains consistent from play to play, but the roles are always shifting. In one lifetime, someone plays your nurturing parent. In another, they might be the difficult coworker who tests your ability to remain calm under pressure. Just like actors on stage, each role is chosen deliberately, and every interaction exists to tell a larger story. This perspective helps reframe relationships, even the difficult ones, as intentional and meaningful. As highlighted in the video, how your soul selects next family and partner before reincarnation. These relationships often serve as reflections of your unhealed aspects. For example, a sibling who embodies traits you dislike, such as arrogance or impatience, might be mirroring qualities you haven't fully addressed within yourself. By interacting with them, you're given the chance to confront these patterns and work through them. The difficulties aren't arbitrary. They're crafted to push you towards self-awareness and growth. Karmic lessons are at the heart of these connections, with each member encouraging the other to evolve in their own unique way. Consider an example from the same source where two siblings shared a deeply complex relationship. One consistently sought approval from others and struggled with self-worth, while the other exuded confidence but often ignored emotional needs. On the surface, their personalities clashed, creating tension in their daily lives. However, by examining their connection through the lens of soul groups, their dynamic became clearer. Each sibling was exploring a different side of the same karmic theme, understanding self-love and balance. Their friction was a catalyst, forcing each to grow in ways they couldn't achieve alone. The confident sibling had to learn empathy, while the other had to develop independence and inner strength. These patterns, viewed over lifetimes, reveal how soul groups challenge and nurture each other, often in unexpected ways. What's particularly profound about these group dynamics is how they transform our understanding of family or friendship conflicts. A difficult parent or a challenging friend isn't just an obstacle. They're part of a sacred agreement your soul entered willingly. These relationships provide opportunities for healing, whether it's breaking cycles of generational trauma, overcoming resentment, or learning to accept differences. Even so, these agreements don't mean relationships are entirely predetermined. Free will always plays a role. While a soul group may set the stage for a relationship to unfold, how you choose to engage with that connection is entirely up to you. Some relationships will feel effortlessly supportive, almost as if the other person is speaking your soul's language. Others will push your boundaries, asking you to show up in ways you might resist but ultimately grow from. When you approach relationships with this perspective, you begin to notice patterns. The people who seem to know you on a level even you can't explain, or the ones who constantly challenge you, may be part of this interconnected web. These bonds are no coincidence. They are deliberate threads in the tapestry of your life, each woven to help you become who you're meant to be. This raises an important question. How can you recognize these connections in your own life? For relationships, no matter how joyful or painful, are sacred agreements chosen by your soul to guide your growth. Each connection, whether it feels effortless or challenging, serves a purpose woven into the journey of your spiritual evolution. These soul contracts remind us that even the hardest moments are opportunities to balance karma, heal, and transform. Reflecting on your relationships through this lens invites a sense of awareness and gratitude. How might understanding these bonds help you approach them with love and intention? As Dolores Cannon once said, love just is. It is the answer to everything. Everything. What could be more profound than that?